My name is Jasmine.
My name's Alejandra.
My name is Kirsten.
My name is Janelle.
My name is Elishiba.
And we are here today to talk to you about inequality and the discrimination against different groups in America. It is now 2016, and over the years there have been many issues and different sides arising when it comes to equality.
Hello, I'm Janelle, and I'm doing my part on the history of equality in America. Throughout American history, our nation has suffered and fought for equality amongst all people. The major conflicts with equality that has occurred throughout our history has impacted our nation dramatically, and as well as politically impacting the presidential election of 2016. For so many years, many documents have been published by our government to instill a sense of equality for the people. Backtracking to 1776, President Thomas Jefferson published the Declaration of Independence. Do you think the Declaration of Independence is qualified to be America's first documentation of equality amongst all people? In the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson writes, "All men are created equal." However, this is not true in fact. We don't know what Jefferson's objective was, whether it was to state that all men ought to be made as equal as possible, or he just didn't consider the slaves as people themselves. Because back then, slaves were considered to be 3/4 of a citizen. They were restricted from many things, and they were tortured very drastically and unfairly compared to other people, in particular white men and women, mostly men. The U.S. Constitution is America's holy Bible. It holds the rules and regulations that we, as a nation, live and hold on to. Out of all the amendments documented, which one do you believe expresses a greater sense of equality for our nation? There are many amendments that can be identified to help improve equality for our nation, such as the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, and the 15th Amendment, that gave all men of any race the right to vote. However, the ratification of the 14th Amendment created a huge effect. It freed the slaves from the states in which they lived in. This amendment projected the moral idea of equality, the promise of equal protection of the laws within the document, conferring both national and state citizenship upon birth, thereby protecting the legal status of the newly freed slaves.
Gender equality is the view that both men and women should receive equal treatment and not be discriminated against based on their gender. Women are often seen as the weaker sex and are sometimes expected to take on the role of the housewife and take care of the kids, while the men go to work and bring home the money. Gender roles also affect the males. If a little girl is running around with a mitt on the baseball field, people think, oh, that's a strong girl. But if a little boy is playing with some dolls, they think that that's weird and something is wrong with him. Men are expected to be big and strong and show no emotion, and if they cry about something, then that's shown as a sign of weakness. What is your opinion on traditional gender roles? I think that men and women should both go to work and contribute equally to the household. In 2015, female full-time workers made only 79 cents for every dollar earned by a male. That is a gender wage gap of 21%. Women are the equal, if not the main breadwinners in 4 out of 10 families, but still earn less than men in virtually every occupation. What measures do you think should be taken in order to fix the wage gap? We should have pay transparency laws so that everyone can see what everyone makes.
Racial equality has been a major issue in the United States. It has been a topic that many have protested on a daily basis. People believe that although they have the same rights in the eyes of the government, they don't have the same rights in the eyes of society. What was the effect of Jim Crow laws? In 1914, the Jim Crow laws were passed by southern states. These laws created a black and white society. Blacks would be arrested if they sat on the same bus, used the same restroom, ate at the same restaurant, attended the same school, or went to the same theater as white people. Jim Crow laws made the U.S. a segregated country. What was CORE and what did they do? CORE is Congress of Racial Equality, and they were one of the biggest organizations during the Civil Rights Movement in 1940. 1942. CORE's purpose was to end segregation and fight for equality for all in a non-violent manner. But by the late 60s, they shifted their goal of equality to Black nationalism and separatism.
Hello, once again, I'm Kirsten, and I am going to be talking a bit about equality and discrimination on sexual orientation and how the government has been discussing this important issue. First, I would like to ask you all a question. I'm sure you all know that it is now legal in all 50 states for all Americans to freely marry, but do you know how many states do not have laws that protect against a discrimination for the LGBT community? If you did not know, the answer is that out of the 50 states, 30 of them have no clear non-discriminatory laws that protect sexual orientation. So that means that even though all people can freely get married, they still may face the risks of being discriminated against by being denied public services, denied jobs, or even fired. In Article 2 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, it states that it provides protection against discrimination on the basis of, among other things, race, color, sex, national origin, or other status. A popular argument for the LGBT community and them receiving protection is that they would be protected under the term other status. I have another question for you guys. Do you think sexual orientation should be protected under the term other status? Well, apparently, when it was being debated on whether or not it should be protected, Article 29 is brought up, which states that rights and freedoms can have set limitations, and the member states can limit enumerated rights in order to protect the human rights of others. In 2015, the Equality Act was introduced. Have any of you heard of it or know what it is? The Equality Act, if passed, would establish explicit permanent protections against discrimination based on the individual's sexual orientation, gender identity, and sex in the cases of employment, housing, access to public places, federal funding, education, and jury service. This issue of achieving equality for different sexual orientations can be hugely impacted by the choices people make with their decisions during this year's presidential election. Each candidate may have different thoughts on how to improve this issue, so it is very important for everybody to get informed and vote because who we choose will affect this later.
How does the media impact our daily lives? The media has always been a very powerful way to send messages. Most homes all over the world own a TV. We watch the way people dress, the way they act, and we try to be like them. We rely on the news to tell us how the weather is gonna be like and other things. The government gets to us through the media and we get through to them through the media. Can we use the media to give us all equal protection? Yes, we definitely can. Equality can only be achieved if all men and women enjoy the same opportunities, and also when their needs are valued. The media will be a very good way to bring up these issues that we have in our society. For example, gender equality, social orientation equality, and race equality. Society needs to have an open mind to even actually discuss this. And I think the media will be a very good way to show us how people are reacting to certain things and how we can achieve the goals that needs to be achieved.
Overall, we discussed the history of equality and the equality between gender, race, and sexual orientation, and how the media portrays equality, and how this all politically impacts the presidential election of 2016.
We hope that you take some